I took a couple of days off because of New Year's and being drunk and then hungover, and then now I'm fighting off a cold, so I haven't been making a lot of progress this week. But before that, I was getting a lot of work done. Mostly what I've been doing, instead of doing the desert, I got a little sidetracked doing pub talk. So, like I said in my other video, I want to make it so that you would go to pubs to learn about characters. So I did that. I got the pub all set up. The characters are here. They're only triggered by whichever character enters the room. So, for instance, like Gaiga and Milena will only enter if you have Isa present. Elsa and Dana. Actually, I'm going to change her name to Diana, so I have to go back and I like the name Diana more. I don't know why. Just so I'm going to go back and change that. But so only if you have Ryle in the group, etc., etc. So this way, when you come in, it's not weird. You have a bunch of characters that shouldn't be here. And again, that was easy enough to do with just setting up the triggered events. So obviously, I had to set up so that again so when you enter, each one's only triggered by where you enter from. So if you enter from the Danmore pub, then you can exit to the Danmore pub. You also notice that I made it so that it changes who is in your party. In this case, it's actually adding the members back to the party. I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, these character events only exist if you have if a specific character is present. So this way, when you come in as the Union group, obviously Ryla's present, so that way Elsa and Diana will be the only ones you see there. And of course, doing dialogue takes a long time. So yeah, and actually, Elsa here has probably like the least amount of dialogue out of all of them. So I do that for all of them. It took a long time. I mean, very much like to do a single group's dialogue thing took about 3 hours. Then of course revising, editing, having to go back. There's like some details I have to change, but that's what I spent most of my time doing before New Year's. Besides from that, I didn't really do anything to the church. It was actually I need to go to church there. So I finally added the brigand camp. So now the church has its obligatory quick dungeon it has to do. So you go here, you talk to these guys, and you have to go to the camp, and then you can actually move on to the fields of neutrality from here. So I had to make so there was an actual entrance over here. Ta-da! This is how you get the church territory from here. Had to add this sign because I don't want Ryla's group coming in from this way. So this is actually only triggered by Ryla, and it literally just says like closed due to plot reasons right now. Add the entranceway to the Endless Sands, which is where most of the groups are going to have to go through in order to then progress the story. So we got a big ass desert. Got to add some baddies and whatnot. Maybe a little side dungeon or something around here to do. And here's Casbah hanging out over here. Got the boat the Barbosians are going to show up on with a little dock. Obviously, this is not detailed at all, but hey, we're getting there. Again, the pub took most of my time, but it looks good. And again, you can go up there, you can talk to everyone. In order to save time, because obviously, when you get to Casbah, there's going to be a pub there, and I was thinking, all right, what am I going to do if there are going to be new events? Am I going to have like a big triggered event? How am I going to word this? Like, am I going to have like a big trigger that says like, "Oi, game, I'm on chapter 2 of this game," basically, or I'm on chapter 3, and I was like, well, I could do that, but then these events would start becoming very full, basically. I mean, like, maybe we have Nina over here, and there's actually quite a bit of dialogue here. But am I gonna have to then make another event page, and another event page, and another event page, and then it's gonna have an actor trigger, or this switch, or that switch, or a different switch? It's like that's after a while I was thinking like, man, it's gonna be hard to keep track of everything. And if I have to like go through the dialogue to fix something, like even just a spelling or grammatical error, it's gonna take me a while to find it. So what I did was I basically just copied the pub, and then just for now I just made 3 pubs. So when it's time to do like the Casbah pub, I'll just have pub number 2 be the Casbah pub, and then I don't have to worry about, you know, having to redo the events, move the characters to other places, and also, like I said, being able to put the characters in different places will make it feel like when a player enters it, like, oh, there's something is different now. Maybe now the characters have something different to say. You know, it's gonna help trigger things. I would like to add, be able to put a little literature in these books, so you could, I could, you know, tell people about the game, so like how my mechanics work and things like that. But not worry about that. So let's just do this. So fortunately, everything works. I fixed a bit of an exploit. Let's go with this one. I'll explain a bit. You see I added the in here, so now there's just a generic in, so like, okay. Then you can come in here, look at that. You can rest, get your HP and MP back. Isn't that fancy? I probably should make it so that those curtains, you go underneath them. But anyways, if we get in the pub, you can see the group is split off. Now you're only controlling Ryla. She's the only one in the group. You can see that, you know, Elsa and, I'm just going to call her Dana for now, because that's how she's listed. But then we can talk to her, and we can actually ask questions about things, so we can maybe get a little backstory here. I'm also adding a continue option, so if you're just not interested, or if I add a lot more, or if I want to keep adding on, I can just break it up into sections. So once you get bored, you can just stop and just leave, but I'll continue for now. So yeah, Ryla had a very different upbringing. And again, you can do the same thing over here. Go talk to Dana over here. Again, I'm going to change her name to Diana, which means I have to go through dialogue and change some things. But and you see when you leave, look at that, your group's back together again. And that was pretty easy. All you do is make it so that when you enter the pub right now, when you enter a pub from a specific location, where's it character based? Ah, crap, because that could be something I actually have to test. But as long as no one tries anything funny, it works. It works just fine. And again, this works for all the groups. So if we do the Barbosians over here, we can leave. We go out here. We can go to the pub that's surprisingly large, but it's all the same size on the inside. You know, like we can go talk to Gaga. We can go talk to Milena over here. The group split up. And also, even though like Gaiga's the leader, Aiza's sort of like the main character of the group. It's just the way I had it in my head. And then we'll look, the group's back together. Yay. I think there is a bit of an exploit I can show you. Not really an exploit, just a funny little problem, but I'm not sure if I accidentally solved it without actually meaning to. Yeah, look, we're in capital. Oh, look. Mina and Nina are just hanging out over here. We can control Aura. Come on. Oh, group's good. Let's see if I can try that. So, like I said before, I had that brigand camp. In this particular save file, I already tested it, beat the group out here, and then beat everyone here. So this way we can move on. So now we can actually go into the neutral zone here, where my attempts to fix a problem, because I realized that when I come over here with this group, I was like, wait a second. That means could I get to could I get to Ryla's house and then trigger their intro, even though I'm not supposed to be able to? You see, I just walked through an enemy there. Yeah, that's something I need to work on. But so we can come through back here. I can't go back through it because then obviously you see a problem here. The dialogue is triggered by just being, by just like hitting a button. So unfortunately, it looks like I have a bomb in my inventory, so I could clear it out. So again, something else I need to fix. But I was like, can I go back to Ryla's farm? And I was like, yes, I could, actually. And before I fixed it, just entering this would then trigger the Union's intro, which was caused a problem because then these characters would be standing right here, and then when Elsa and Diana try to enter, the characters are in the way, and then basically the game hard locks, or would it be a soft lock? It'd be, I guess it's a hard lock. But now I fixed that, so now we can go into house. Nothing is triggered because you don't have Ryla in your group, so you can go here, you can steal. I think actually if I do this, Ryla will still talk. Yep. So again, still some little kinks gotta work out. Not gonna worry too much about it right now. As long as it doesn't hard lock the game. That's the only thing I care about. What I want to see is if I go into this pub, is it gonna like change which characters I have? The answer is no. Okay, so I did fix it. So now, for the most part, everyone can start beginning to move on to the next part. I wonder how did I fix it? I'm curious now. It must be triggered by which character is in the group, which makes the most sense for now. No. You touch it, you enter, it goes to pub, okay. And now I'm all confused. What the hell did I? How the hell? What did I do? How did I make it work without intending it to work like it's meant to? Oh, duh. I know how. Because these characters are only triggered by which character enters. Duh. So, yeah, that's about where I'm at right now. But like I said, everyone can now, for the most part, move on to the next part. The barbarians are going to take a slightly different path, for a little game variety. So they're going to have to go on the boat. They're going to get attacked by pirates and or a kraken. I haven't decided yet. But let's see, now we can enter the Endless Sands. We can wander around here. There's nothing to do yet, but you can go here. So now we can't go into Casbah yet. That's gonna take some work. Because Casbah, again, is where all the characters are gonna meet. I mean, not gonna really like run to it and go, oh hi, let's group up and go do something. They're just gonna kind of see each other in passing events that each group suffers through. Other groups are gonna witness, and getting that all figured out in my head before I begin executing it, and then trying to place everything is going to be a big important part, because it's gonna be the most complicated thing I've done so far as like event planning goes. So like I already know, like with a union group, I'm 100% sure there, Elsa and Diana are gonna go Elsa's gonna go do the informant thing while Diana's supposed to babysit Ryla. Obviously that's not gonna go well. Ryla's gonna get drunk and get into a fight. He'd probably get arrested. What's going on in Casbah is, I mean, just a little background. So Casbah is basically going to be kind of like a slave trading city, basically. So the pirates and the malcontents of the world use Casbah as a trading port, and one of the big things they trade in is men. So when the girls find guys that were either were hiding out or abandoned, or they stole them from someone, they bring them here to sell off. So there's basically a man auction going on, and that's sort of the guise the characters are using to show up here discreetly. So what's going to happen with Mina, since she's very tomboyish, she's going to get dragged off because everyone's just gonna assume she's a man trying to pretend she's a woman. She's a woman. They're not gonna bother to check anything. They're just gonna drag her off, which obviously is gonna raise questions like, why wouldn't they just look? But it's like, hey man, plot, duh. So then this way Ryla and Mina can bump into each other in prison, get those two characters to meet up in that way. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the barbarians. I think what I'm going to have is that one of the barbarians, I'm not sure her, probably Gaiga, either Gaiga or Isa will recognize Aura and know who she is. And I'll find some other way to get the other characters to maybe connect or see each other. If not, they can connect later on. It's not that big of a deal. But so yeah. Also, funny story. When I was making this tile set, I didn't make the water impassable, so you could just walk right over it, which was quite hilarious looking. Yeah, that's it for now. Obviously, again, the same thing with the church can now actually get there too, so progress can be made in a forward direction. But I'm gonna actually have to do the barbarians next, since their path is completely different than everyone else's. But I should have went to title. Oops. So I did get a lot of work done over my vacation, which I'm very happy about. But like I said, between getting super drunk on New Year's, being hungover afterwards, and fighting off this cold, I really just haven't been in a working mood. I'm getting better, so I'll be back at it pretty soon. And still some other decisions. The crafting system, I'm still up in the air. The more I think about it, the more it's like, money is certainly simpler, and it kind of serves the same effect. I might make it so you buy basic things with money, and then you turn basic things into advanced things. But we see, hey, look, the church crew can get here too. Ta-da! Like I said, the barbarians, because their barbarians are coming in on a boat, so they have to have a very different path. So that's going to be a whole huge scripted battle scene and dialogue, and that's going to be quite epic. But that's also going to help compensate for the fact that since they don't have to go to the endless sand, because I'm going to be putting enemies, maybe not all over the place, but I have to find a way to make it so the enemies are invisible and hidden and will track you down and hunt you. I'm going to have to also set them up to have a range as opposed to being like a touch. Because it seems like there's a bit of an exploit where, like, when enemies are randomly moving around, if you just stay still and wait for them to walk away, then you could just it doesn't. You have to touch the enemy to trigger the battle, as opposed to if they touch you. So you can just stay still, let the enemies just wander around, and they won't start a fight. So I figure if I set a range of 1, then it means once they get within 1 tile of you, that should start the battle. I'll have to test that. So make it so there's a lot of ambushes and attacks, and obviously the enemies here have to be tougher and worth more XP and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think that's enough for now. I don't know. Right now I'm still just licking my wounds, so that's enough of me yakking. I'm gonna go continue to lick my wounds, and maybe I'll do some more work on this weekend. So, yeah, that's about it.